We last met on the 28th on top of Knockfierna Hill. It's now the 13th of March. By coincidence, I suppose it's the 13th of March. We are meeting now in Henry Green's house. We have a fine collection of people, many from the locality, and also some very fine entertainers, singers, ladies, and also we're very pleased to have Gary McMahon, the well-known Newcastle West solicitor, who is also very involved in those type of activities. There are some people at the doorway now, so Gary, I suppose, will welcome him in, and we'll put him seating, and we'll hopefully then ask them some questions as we go during the course of the night.
Okay, hello Gary. God bless you. Come on, you're all welcome. You're all welcome. In you come. God bless. Oh, you're all wearing Newcastle dress with the man. Come on, wait yourself. That's me, man. Welcome. Welcome. Is there room for the man in there, Pat?
There is. The chimney is big. So you can sit on the outside one here. Stay on the outside of the thing. Will you sit up here near the fire? Just for a minute, just take the line. We also now have Martin Ryan following the ladies, not always following the ladies, but tonight he happens to arrive behind the ladies. Martin is well known in the agricultural business in the farming, paid Limerick leader, and we're indeed delighted that he made it here tonight. Jim Houlihan, a well-known Fianna Fáil County Councillor. Sorry, Jim, I always mix up those politics, you know. And he brought a very fine singer with him from the bottom of the hill. Joanne sang with us in Limerick on the radio programme last August time.
That's great. We want to close the door, Pat, do we?
We might as well keep out the cold. Gary will defend you anyway if you're cut after hours, so Jack, you'll be all right. You can always give Gary a shout. Mrs. Elmer, you were here before. I think you're one of the few people that spend many a night here. Shoot away. Who used to be here when you was called here long ago?
Who lived here?
Green, and who else?
Debbie Sullivan was here, and she was many one lads here before. Debbie Sullivan.
And where did she keep the goats? We heard about goats.
Above on the top of the shed.
Above up here.
I know, it up there. Where...
Used she keep goats up in the loft?
No.
She didn't?
No.
I thought she did.
I thought you used to be able to poke out sticking their heads out there.
The poke?
The poke was up there?
Maybe, I know.
My God, I think he was. It was in a gay house, was it?
It was.
Was it a rambling house? Used people come in a lot to it?
They used.
Used to. Used to play cards here?
No, not here at all.
No, other houses with the cards?
Yeah, I know about.
Sullivan's over the lane, over the passageway. Jim
Yeah.
Sullivan's just playing cards there.
Yeah.
And was there many living in the house? Was there a big family here?
There was only one.
Only one?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Henny Green.
Henny. And was she old when she died?
I suppose 80.
Was she? Yeah. And she lived on her own?
She did.
There was an unusual story about her when she died or after she being, how did they get her down into the, to take her down the lane? The lane was kind of blocked up in that time, it was hard to travel, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it a tractor and trailer?
Yeah, they took her out to the road.
The coffin was above in the back of a tractor and trailer.
Yeah, out to the road.
They've come on a long way with the funeral parlour since then. They'll lay you out and dine you and everything now in the parlour, you know.
Well, I had someone singing recently, singing the old Bog Road, and the way she sang it was, And I carried out my coffin down the old park road.
She carried it herself. Just here in the back we have Mrs. Hanley from the other side of the hill. Bertie is involved with it, has been for quite some time in the committee. Have you any stories of the hill or Knockfierna or Knockfierna, which is always a well-known landmark?
I suppose there's something all right about Billy Cornell. You ever hear Billy Cornell? Or Lamon Bullock, as he was being called. He was what you'd call a really good jockey, but he went on the booze, and that's really upset him. But he used to go over, John Hartigan had a place in Graigueculloch. And Ned Fitzgibbon trained together there.
Yeah.
And then they went over to England, and he got a fancy for liquor over there.
Yeah.
Because he was a really good jockey.
Yeah.
But when he came back anyway, he was in the chaperon, as you could say. He got married to Mary from Ballingarry. I couldn't tell you her other name, but she never had a great life, the poor old thing. But the boys used to be watching him always, because he was always muggle old coming home with the old pony was falling under the car or something. It was always happening.
The pony usually hit him home.
Yeah, that's the fact. But he had a way with horses. He could train horses when no one could. It would be a very bad animal that he couldn't get around.
You used to have a fair over near you in Ballymuscanlon. Do you remember that, or have you ever heard of that?
No, I never heard of that.
Ballymuscanlon near Lee's Cross. We got it there in the old folk.
Really?
folk
See,
tales.
I never heard of them.
Yeah. Used to visit Knockfierna Hill when you were young?
We used to go on picnics.
Did you see anyone, fairies or anything like that?
Not at all. No. Oh,
You're
no.
still searching for them.
It's the living you have to be afraid of, not the dead.
We had a forge, you know, too, in Killochty. We had Mike Conway. He was his father before him. Came off Kilfinny, and they originally came from Foynes, so they had no family. Of course, it faded out, and they all died, and that was it. All gone. Now was the
What
house
were the
today,
prices in
now.
those days for getting a horse shod?
Oh, God bless, a half crown, and that way, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Half crown.
Dave Fitz here beside me. Did you go to the forge?
I
Do
did
you remember that forge?
I remember that. I don't know.
Many of the story was told.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
All kinds of stories.
Yeah. We got knives welded now and many things, you know.
Yeah.
They're very convenient in our time, like.
Gates were made.
Oh, dates were made.
What kind of prices were they in those days? Or what
Oh,
were you talking about?
and you buy a good jet at him for £1.
What for a pound?
Oh, yeah, £1, yeah.
What would you get for a pound?
A date. A
Oh, yeah.
10 for date.
Yeah.
A welded date now, like.
Mm-hmm.
All welded pat that.
And what about the blacksmith when he gets a kick at the horse?
Oh,
You say his prayers.
Oh, he won't. You don't sit in any prayer book any like.
do you miss those days?
Oh, you must
Forge
have
is
it.
gone.
Oh, forge is not bad, like.
Just drive in the
But
tractor
you'll
and
be-
get it serviced.
2 or 3 hours up there, and people coming and going, and you'll hear all the. Everyone have a different yarn, you know.
Did you ever pick up a shoe on the ground, asked by the blacksmith to pick up a shoe when you thought it was cold?
Oh no,
and
but
you
no,
stick
no.
it. I know a blacksmith like that. He throw it on the ground.
Oh, no, I would, yeah. Tell your feet up.
And you stick it in.
No, I don't. Just your hand on it, but.
Forge was a great place.
Talking about tobacco, that I know, Pat, about the price of things, like.
Yeah.
I was buying 4 ounces tobacco for 4 and 6pence. That'd be 22.5 pence today, like. And
You're putting the figures, Mrs. Elmer.
an ounce today is £2.41.
Things have gone up a lot.
Yeah.
What do you think of the changes? Do you think they were obviously for the better, but I suppose people have less
Well,
money than they have a lot of
I'd
them.
say-
Anyways, Martin will tell us over there a lot of them are worse off at the end of it.
The money today now, like, compared to long ago, this is when the no money came out. You had 100 pence, you had 240 pence a pound in my time, and you had 100 pence today.
That's right.
That's right.
240 pence. That's right. And in my day too, it isn't that long ago. We're all getting old. But as the fella said, I suppose the day we stop getting old, that's the day we're in trouble.
Oh, that's right.
Mrs. Whelan, Castlemahon, am I right?
Yes.
Wonderful. What stories have you heard of Knockfierna? Have you heard anything about it in your heyday, so to speak? Did you ever visit ever visit up
I
the hill?
did. When I got married first, Frank brought me along.
He led you up the hill?
Yes. One Sunday afternoon, I was about a month around, and it was the first drive he brought me back. I think it was around the 15th of August.
Yeah, yeah.
He led you up the garden.
Up the hill, right up.
Up the ferry patch.
Up right up to the top.
Yeah.
And that was it until about 6 years after. He came along with the 2 children, and up he brought the 2 of them.
The 2 children.
Oh, yes. And every year after that, then he brought them up. Every year it was a drive, once a year always, to Knockfierna.
Frank, he couldn't be with us tonight.
Now that it's going to be famous. It's really great.
Well, about being famous, you can drive up it now anyhow, most of the way, not all the way, but most of the way. Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.
This lady now is a well-known gambler. Or should I say a card player. You were born at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, in the Glen.
In the glen, looking up at it.
Yes.
What stories did you hear about it? You heard them all, I suppose.
I heard them all, lies and truth.
And many forgotten. The lies were always there in the plenty anyway.
Yeah, exactly. They were good old days.
Yeah.
They were.
Had you any fear of the fairies in your younger days?
It wasn't the fairies at all, but these white boys, they were so frightened the life out of us.
The white boys. Yeah.
We'd want to come up to the road to play with the ones. Yeah. We were away from all the rest of the...
Was there a strong tradition about the white boys around this area?
We'd want to come up a bit, the white boys will get you.
Yeah. Gary, had you anything in the white boys down your side as late as that?
A little bit before my time now.
But in stories now, is there?
No, I never heard much about the white boys really. I read about them, of course, like. And Captain Moonlight. Did you ever hear of Captain Moonlight? He used to be one of the leaders of them.
Whoever would be the best to tell the tall stories, we used to say that's how they made their names, I suppose.
Yeah. The reason I ask about the white boys is, as Mrs. Almer behind my back here will tell us, that Captain, who was it, the white boys?
Captain Wise.
Captain Malley, was it?
No,
Yeah.
she was Captain Wise.
That lived on near
The middle of the hill there below
yeah,
the pond, isn't
the
it?
pond, underneath the pond there. Do you know, Mike Tom. Yeah,
The green field below in the middle.
Yeah.
The ruins of a house.
yeah,
That was Malley's. Is that where
that's she.
and it was a lady, a woman.
Yeah,
It was the white boys.
yeah.
And what was she known as?
Captain Malley.
Captain Malley.
Yeah,
That story has come down, and that's why I think.
yeah.
Did you ever hear what they used to do, what the white boys used to do?
No,
Did you ever hear them cutting the hocks and cattle? Or bleeding cattle or horses? The landlord's horses? You didn't hear that, did you?
no,
Did you hear any stories of what they did?
no,
Apart from hearing of Captain Malley.
no.
They used to burn out the landlords and...
There are Simon to Devon there.
No, they were before the era.
Yeah,
They trained in the Ireland.
They trained him in. They trained in the era.
Back to Mrs. Hanley again, I mind my own way this time. What did you hear of the white boys? Obviously, there is the white boys usually are nearly a forgotten race of activities, but it has lived on here around.
The man money, you see, but they were getting very cross, and they came to a house one night, and they wanted money, and she told him they'd have it the following night. But she was great with a policeman, and he told her when they'd come the next night to hold the fellow's hand that was coming for the money. So she held his hand, and they came along, you see, and they were prepared, the police, and came along and shot him. He went away anyway, blood went to, where he was shot.
Yeah.
You see him all the way home, went up to the bog, that's where he came from. The bog above in
Ballygran is outside.
That's right, up
Yeah.
outside. So after that, there was no more white boys. That finished the white boys.
Yeah. Where did that happen, that particular
It
incident?
happened to Newlands of the castle.
Known as the castle.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll move back to you again, the gambler from Ballingarry. What other stories did you hear on the white boys now? Had you heard any
Well,
specific
no,
stories?
I couldn't tell you about any of that. But
Any
there's
particular ones?
When we want to go, they want to keep us inside, frighten us with the white boys.
It was always the white boys.
White boys.
Anything about Knockfierna or the fairies in the hill, anything in them?
And there was an old big rock and old passage, and we were afraid to pass it. They said the fairies to come out, we went up at night.
You couldn't go up the passage?
Couldn't go up the passage.
And any other stories from them times?
We never thought that we'd be able to record on these things if we were right.
You didn't take them down since we
didn't.
Yeah.
What about the fairies, did you say?
They were only coming from the pub up across the hill.
That's where the fairies were coming from the pub across the hill.
Did you ever hear any music or ever hear the banshee?
Oh, I heard the band. Well, at least we were taught with the banshee. We used to hear them.
Crying in the night, is it?
Yeah.
Did you hear it many times?
Well, I didn't hear it too many, but I heard it. I heard something anyway. We were taught with the banshee when any family had died. You know,
was there somebody dead on the night you heard it?
Certainly, I suppose. I couldn't tell you.
Did any of you hear the banshee behind me?
No. Dogs, was it?
Toys.
Was it?
Toys.
Dogs.
Or a cat, was it?
Dogs.
The banshee.
I had the honour of hearing something myself one night many years ago as well, for 3 or 4 hours with the shivers through here.
Yeah.
That's what we didn't know goes pimples night anyway with the fire we have down. You go to the hill of a Sunday, people used to have a traditional going to Knockfierna on the Sunday.
Yeah, indeed, yes. It was a great place for going up every Sunday.
You'd put a stone on top of the cairn on the hill.
That's right. Yeah.
The cairn then was removed in 1915. Somebody said a nice cross, another said it was a monstrosity was put in the place of the ancient cairn which was removed.
The pinnacle we used to call it.
Pinnacle.
Yeah.
People used to put stones on top of that cairn.
You bring up one. When you come up, everyone they came up, brush up a stone and put it up on the pinnacle. The pinnacle we always call it.
Pinnacle is what it's called, yeah. It was a tradition with local
it was. Anyone that came there. Everybody came there, put a stone up on this. Yeah.
It's a pity some of the historians said it was removed in the 1950s to make way for the cross.
I was often sorry myself when I thought afterwards, that it was a pity.
They could have put the cross beside it without necessarily removing the cairn. It's very ancient. Yes.
And it was a big job to remove it, wasn't that right there? To remove the pinnacle.
Oh, I should have tell you that anyone who walked out there would carry up a stone to make it to help to make it higher. Carry on a while.
Mrs. Fitzgerald, the woman at the bottom of the hill, and she's the landlord of the cross, so to speak. So Knockfierna keeps looking down this way, and Mrs. Fitzgerald keeps looking up. Is that it?
That's right, Pat.
Did you ever visit at night time?
No.
Daytime you did?
Daytime I did, all right.
And what
Sundays.
used you do on the Sundays?
Like Nan said, put on our stone or light a fire. Tradition again to light the fire.
And what about the weather signs that it was noted for having?
Yeah, I still have weather guides from it.
Yeah. What guides
I know.
have you got?
Oh, certain stones will come out more.
Shine out.
Shine out, yeah, for bad weather.
Yeah.
And you won't see them at all if we're going to have fine
so
weather.
you'll give us your telephone number before the night is out for the broadcast here next year.
Right. I will, Pat.
What do you light the fire with? What do you see light the fire?
Just like the old force. Yeah, yeah.
What fires? The fires on the hill?
Yeah, we'd always light a fire for go off it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come back to Nan Keith again. But how did you manage without electricity?
Oh, the oil lamps and the candles.
And cooking?
The open fire. Like.
What did you do on the open fire?
Everything.
Stand back from it.
Everything. Yeah, our cooking was done in the.
That big round
we didn't.
What was that square thing?
In that a griddle. Yeah.
You never used
no,
that?
we didn't ever
Did
have
any of
it.
you ladies use that?
No.
Did you use the bastable?
Oh, yeah.
did,
Oh, God,
yeah.
the grand bread.
Sometimes,
The grand
yeah.
bread, they should get out of the vegetable.
yes.
I tell you, wouldn't get the bread now. They should come out of the vegetable. The vegetable bread. Yeah, so you'd have to redden the cover. You'd have to redden the cover and then put the coals up on top
Put
of
the
it.
grease up on top of it.
Yes, and the bower, we'd be going out with the bohan, we're not collecting the code and the dried code.
That's right, the dry coding.
Yeah, the bohan.
Yeah. They used to burn coding, of course.
Bohan, we used to call it the bohan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Búltach the card in the Gaeltacht now. Búltach.
With bohan, we used to call it, and they went out the bohan, collecting it in bags, to be dry.
About Christmas time then, what did you do anything unusual there?
Well, we didn't, I suppose. Well, we played cards. Was a great thing for playing cards. Card playing in every
You
house.
have all the signs of it, I can vouch for that.
But I don't know, I wasn't good enough in that time to be joining
And
with
what
them.
else did you do at Christmas time, Sam?
There we dance, we'd have house parties, you know.
Yeah.
Half sets, yes, half sets. You know. Go around to different houses, you know, and have the house. Yes.
What kind of a fire? What did you use for fuel then?
Yeah, coke, with the coke.
Any turf around the area?
Well, but that would be when the lads of turf would come around, you know, but the coke was grand to make.
This area isn't noted too much for the bag tonight. Last night we had a meeting here. A few people were complaining about the cold. Tonight we're gone the other extremes, has gone warm. So Bertie Henley's in charge of the fire, so he'll put a few more studs in it, and Deirdre Scanlon will sing a song. Deirdre is a very well-known local singer from Monaghay, which is fairly well known to all. She will sing a song. If you come down here to us, Deirdre, put more sads in the fire, Marianne, or put more tough in the fire, Marianne. Stand there by the fire, and if you stand too close, you'll burn your...
My name it is Mickey Maroney, from the village of Mullinahone, and 'twas there that I first met my darling, that I really can now call my own. She lived with her father and mother in a cottage way down by the hill, but if ever on earth I may wander, I will think of that darling spot still. Put more turf on the fire, Marianne, for the weather is dreary and cold. Put on a big sod, Marianne, we're both growing weary and old. We'll talk of old times, Marianne, and the troubles in life we've been through. They can turn the whole world, Marianne, upside down. 'Twill never change my love for you, Marianne. No, 'twill never change my love for you. I remember the days long ago, love, when we walked down the shady boreen, and you whispered soft notes of love in my ear as we sat by the murmuring stream, and we watched the blue smoke as it curled in the air in your father's mud cabin down by, and you vowed you would always be true love, and that you would always be mine. Put more turf on the fire, Marianne, for the weather is dreary and cold. Put on a big sod, Marianne, we're both growing weary and old. We'll talk of old times, Marianne, and the troubles in life we've been through. They can turn the whole world, Marianne, upside down. 'Twill never change my love for you, Marianne. No, 'twill never change my love for you.
Ian from Castlemahon, All Ireland standard violin player, and played on our radio programme last year, which went down very well, and Shibiog Shimioran, I think. Thank you. before we move on to the next stage of it, I would sincerely, on behalf of the Knockfierna Heritage and Folklore Group, sincerely welcome you all here tonight, and delighted that you've made such an effort. It was an effort, obviously, for some of the older people, and it was an effort for everybody indeed. We thank you and appreciate your effort in coming tonight, and as I say, we sincerely thank you for coming. It's an effort. And also thank the committee, and Paddy Brown in particular, and Peter Cremin, who put in such an effort in getting the house ready. This house, as Mrs. Almer knows, some years ago, there was, as Nan Keefe said, they used to burn it in her day, you know. It was up a few feet high before the place was cleared out and remodelled and repainted, and then we had to put all these things back in again these past couple of days. Obviously, we don't leave them lying around every day. So our thanks to everybody concerned, and the evening is going very well. Also to Martin Ryan, as I said, we are very thankful and appreciate, he's quite a busy man. We appreciate him coming. He has been reporting a lot of funny events or unusual events. This probably is one that he didn't come across before. Also Mike Berkery, the man from the West, who christened this place, for the want of a better word, the Rambling House back some last year. And again, we thank Michael for coming here tonight, and hopefully a lot of the photographs which will be taken tonight will be used in our booklet, which will be coming out. You're supposed to stand up. Before the cameras will change. If you were selling a house, you'd have him facing the buyer, Mike. There's no point in turning your pole. Mrs. Almer, these washing boards on the top. Yeah. Did you use those? Are you familiar with them, or who used to use them?
They weren't there at all in Henny Green's time, not the press nor anything. No.
Did you use those things yourself in your own house?
Yeah.
The washing board, do you see the washing board above? You used that.
Pure sunlight soap.
Yeah, didn't that all the time.
Still in use in some
places?
Yeah,
on every house I make out that down the washing machine.
That was the washing machine they had long ago.
The washboard on the tub. No, it's done on the tub.
Every Monday morning I supposed to be done with it.
Nan Keefe here will give us an exhibition on how this was used, you know. We'll fill the top for you with later on now, you know. They were also on timber.
Aye, they were. Timber, I never used it. They have to say they were very severe on the claws, the glass ones. That's right.
Were they severe on the knuckles as well?
Yeah. We have a lot of claws to wash.
You know, down the tub now, you put this on the shore, but that was to fill it with water, you know.
An enamel bucket.
The inside would be usually cleaner than that, I imagine.
What was the tub we used to have?
A temple tub, yeah.
Come on, let's try nothing to rub in there. Will you take off your shirt?
I take off my shirt. Show the way. We'll give up any bit.
Hey, this is a family show. This is a family show, please.
Any bit of a cloth around down.
Give me something.
A piece of cloth beside her. We'll get you a piece now in a minute.
We'll turn this now to face.
All you need is a drop of water there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That'll be more appropriate now, it seems.
You need to wash it anywhere.
There's a scarce. Lift your head there for Martin Ryan. If it was full of water, you'd never stop.
I don't know how to end up for you.
It's a lot easier nowadays with the washing machines.
Oh, God, it is.
No advertising, please.
No.
Women used to go around the locality on hire, so to speak, to houses.
Doing the washing.
Washerwomen.
Washerwomen.
Who used to do that in this locality? Do you remember the names of anyone?
Huh?
Sorry?
Mrs. Tracy.
Mrs. Tracy, yeah. But she was Mrs. Doody, Mag Doody. Well, that's telling you where it now. We were Knockfierna, weren't we? We were Knockfierna.
On your side of the hill, yeah.
Yes. Rachel Tracy.
Who used to do it on the Knockfierna side?
Rachel Tracy, and who else then?
She'll be related to you now before the night is out. And how much pay would they get for that? Would it be?
I know would they get any money on it, something in kind. Maybe a half-crown of the washing.
They'd get complete washing in that house?
Yeah, they would, but they'd always get something going home with something else.
And would they move on to another house then the same day?
Oh, they wouldn't. It'd be once a week, washing would stop. Monday washing.
Going for the day nearly in the one
house. Yeah, they would indeed, yeah. All those. There was no nylon sheets then, or anything, this kind of thing, the drip dries or anything, it was all flamination.
in it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Who was the washerwoman in your area?
Mrs. Doody from the town.
Yeah.
She used to always come over around.
And how much would she get paid? Would she get paid more than the crowd at Knockfierna hillside on the other side of the hill?
Hallelujah, settled the one.
About a half a crown for the day.
Yes, yeah.
What year would that be?
Oh, it's supposed to be in the 40s and 50s. The 40s at least.
How did you manage during the war years? Then I lost the two of you, that I suppose. What difficulties had you during the war?
Oh, we had lots of the rationing, the tea and the sugar.
So you couldn't be meeting the boyfriend, so you would go walking.
I didn't have to go there.
I didn't have to cross the field.
It was leather for the shoes, so you would.
Yes, exactly.
Who was the washerwoman? Who was in your area in the washerwoman? Had you anybody?
Very girl, you know, very girl.
Do you remember that particular book? Not that particular book, but the book I like it. General Ration Book for 1944. You have the bottle and your prices inside and that as well, actually.
And that's also has
Coupons and all.
coupons and the half-pound of tea. What was the song about?
I'm trying to spare them.
Have you
Bless them all, bless them all.
Who gave us from
David O'Riordan, the man from the bottom of the hill on this occasion. He arrived late, but he's usually early. Will you go in there to the bedroom, David?
Do I tell you to go with you?
No, you're late arriving, but we said we'd wait for you. Will you go up the stairs and join more Collins like yourself? Mrs. Lynch, there's no fear, you can come in another bit, right? Peter, you go and don't check in the door, you will. Remember the cap. The ration book for people at home in later days, the ration book, General Ration Book, 1944 issue. And you had the name and the address of the person in it, and their number. And then those ladies would even be more familiar with the ration book than I would have been. And you had coupons, and there's the coupon, and you had a warning as to how to use it, and you couldn't leave this. And then the various shops in the front of it, the date was used and what the shopkeeper's signature and address went on the front of the book. Did you use one of those, Mrs. Elmer?
Yeah.
What did you get that you wouldn't get today with it? You'd get an awful lot for £1 anyway, I'm sure, you know. What would you do with the ration book when you went into the shop?
Only for the tea and the sugar, and that's all that's in there.
That's all
There was no tobacco and that to carry to your children.
So did you get a different ration book for the tobacco?
No, I wouldn't get it at all.
No ration with tobacco. It was only tea and sugar only was on this.
That's all, and butter, that's
And
all.
butter as well. And how many of each would you get? How many units, so to speak, today?
Oh, God, I
How much tea?
Half an ounce of tea.
Half an ounce only.
Yeah,
per person.
If your
Per
children
person, per house.
yeah.
should be allowed more.
What?
If your children will be allowed more, you were allowed.
Per child, half an
Oh,
ounce.
just the same, yeah, just the same.
And how much butter did you get then?
Pound of butter, pound of butter, yeah. Wasn't the butter. There wasn't the tea. In the tea, there was black market in the tea.
Did you get it every day then, the half ounce? Or?
Per week.
Per week. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah, Saturday. And you'd have to do with it. If wouldn't, unless you had some friend that would give you the extra grand.
I'm told also to ask a question about midwife. We changed from the ration. Where was the midwife living in this locality at
There
that
was
time?
no midwife on it. Nurse Griffin was in Ballingarry. In Ballingarry she was.
Around the area.
You yourself, were you born in Limerick or?
I was born at home. And a neighbouring woman that said my mother said come in, that's in for her.
Neighbouring woman.
Yeah.
Who was she, do you remember?
Mrs. Daffy and Mrs. Gorman
Mrs. Gorman.
behind Ballyale.
So there was no doctors and there was no...
There was doctors all right. There was doctors all right.
At the time yourself,
Well,
midwife
the-
to be called, is it?
Well, the midwife we called, but the doctors were there if they were needed.
And how did they go for the doctor visit?
Oh, pony and car. Pony and trap, yeah.
And if you had an emergency then it was the same pony and trap and wait a long period of time till they came to...
Well, it was. But because the doctor would have a car. Yeah. On the
Did
head.
you ever hear anything about the famine or the effects of the famine?
Well, I did. Well, heard of it. You know.
But anything related locally?
Wish I didn't, I think. I can't.
It is written back along our books, or we picked up that there was a half-dead man died from Knockfierna between Ballingarry and Knockfierna. You never heard of that, did you?
I didn't. Happens, where would the happens
They
live?
were up there in
Up
that
on the hill.
In where?
I really get me, so wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, but what happens? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You
Dan
Dan
Hartness
Hartness.
there underneath you.
He was
Down there, just there, where Willie Gaffney's living
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Just at the back of the house.
I
Yeah.
really get me, no.
Yeah, well, you'll be more familiar with that than me.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Then Sheehan,
Yes,
we heard loads about you.
that's right.
Keep entertaining us for the night.
Dan is good at that.
You went to the forge as well, I suppose you had a forge over near you.
I did indeed, I did.
Who had the forge? Which forge did you go to?
Michael Conway, and afterwards to Thomas Gorman, Knockfierna.
Whereabouts was that forge situated?
In Knockfierna.
Whereabouts today? Like,
In the village, yes, there's a...
is there any
How,
sign of
oh, there is. There is indeed.
whose house is it now?
Gorman's.
Are they living in the house or is it in the same site?
The forge is across the road.
Oh yeah.
And
and
there's another man here tonight that I often went to his forge, Dermot Liston.
yeah, we'll get to Dermot now for minutes. He tells some of the ones he couldn't tell long ago, I suppose, you know. What about matches and games and that kind of entertainment? What type of entertainment in the early days in your youth?
Oh, there used to be great hurling matches in Croom and Ballingarry.
Yeah.
There was a league final played in Croom in 1935 between Limerick and Dublin, and Limerick won it. There was a national hurling league.
What about Ballingarry? I think it was 1912 or 1911 before they pulled off a big one, was it?
Well, I don't know about them now. Like I'm more interested in Grana. I was a Grana.
We'll have to move that hill out in the middle of your way so you'll be able to see it through the better, I think, you know. And what about the fairs? I assume you went to fairs.
I did at Kiel, yeah.
How did you take the kettle?
Drum along the road. Started off about 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And when they went in over the wall, I assume did you hit them house trend?
No.
You had to follow them, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
How
yeah.
many people would you have taken the kettle to the fair?
There'd generally be 2 in front of the kettle and maybe 2 or 3 after them, and you see, and there'd be another batch of kettle after, so that the people that have been driving one batch, they'd be also acting as they'd be keeping the ones behind them from getting together.
And when you got to the fair, then how did you mind the kettle?
That was the hardest point to keep them, get them to stand. They'd be all time moving. They would take about an hour to get them to settle down.
Yeah. What prices were the kettle making? Martin might be particularly interested in that now, you know. How much was heifers, cows and bullocks and those?
Well, I remember a year and a half bullocks being sold for £1.10.
That'd be cheap by today's.
Well, it would. In all money.
£1.
In my youth, when we'd have the big fairs in the store, the Tonys would always stand for a while to mind the cattle, and we'd always get a bob or two, like, you know.
No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, just happened in the store.
You just mind your own.
That's right.
Yeah. And calves, then, what were they making? Cows?
Well, calves, yes, calves that would be like drop calves, 12 and 6pence if you were prepared to sell them to a man that would take the skin off of them in the 1930s.
What year now are you talking about? What?
I'm talking about 1933 and 34 and 35, 36.
Yeah.
What were the cattle buyers date those times?
Well, Murphy the Cart now are a renowned name that time now.
Horrigans.
The Horrigans. But like, as Dan mentioned there a while ago now, a calf with 50 pence, dead or alive. And we were young at the time and we should be delighted. But if a calf died, there'd be on a live one and tell away the dead fella. And we might give Michelle the trophy, like.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen calf heifers bought for 18 and 6pence. I see Wayne and Bullocks sold for 16 and 3pence after rearing them for 4 or 5 months.
I think a lot of our visitors tonight will go shopping tomorrow for cattle. And who else were the buyers? You had more cattle buyers than that, I'd say, would you?
Well, there were a lot of farmers at that time, like, you know.
Yeah.
There were no mats to the fairs, as Dennis said, like.
How you used to take the cattle away in the evening then? I assume they had big tin truck lorries.
You went to the railway and put on a wagon.
Who took them to the railway?
Oh, the people, the sellers come to the railway. And stand there for an
There
hour.
were 2 different types of wagons.
A 4 hour.
There was a nine beasts in a wagon. That would be a 3-year-old and a cows, you
That's
know.
right, yeah.
And there was a banding wagon then that would take 11, but you wouldn't get many of them.
Yeah.
You see, and it was cheaper then for the person
And,
who was sending them to Dublin.
And Mrs. Hanley's father, Lord Rustin, he was a great cattle buyer.
Buying cattle as well.
Brilliant.
Where used he buy cattle?
All over the country.
We have a few more late arrivals, I suppose, but have to give them the pass, so to speak. Marion, who is looking at the hill from the other side, and Michael, welcome. Better late than dead on time, they say. You just missed the price of cattle, Mike. The price of cattle. Sorry, you have to come down from the rafters. With Gary McMahon, as I said earlier, well-known Newcastle West solicitor, he will give us a song. Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Come down from the loft. Well, I thought for a change I might give you a comic song tonight. And this is a song about, we were talking about stock and cattle all along there, but we never talked about pigs. This song is about pigs. And it's about a breed of pigs that came back to Kerryway some years ago, called the Yorkshire pigs. That's right. Oh, Arun, what shall we do, for our credit is running down? The humour is gone from every man in country and in town. When they go to a dance, a treat or a prance, for to practice some reels and jigs. Sure the lassies can't stay, they must hasten away, for to fatten those Yorkshire pigs. Up and down a ruin from Glash na noon, and from Brosson to Rahy. There are slips and stores and well-bred boars to supply the whole country. If the craters keep small, we'll give tea to them all, aye, and bread made with raisins and figs. But I hear people say it's the devil to pay when it comes to those Yorkshire pigs. Oh, when I was a boy, there was credit and joy, aye, and plenty of milk galore. 'Twas drank everywhere, they did not spare for the Banov or the Boar. But I'm sure they'll regret their conduct yet with their high heel shoes and sprigs. For the creamery soon will give checks on the moon for to fatten those Yorkshire pigs. Oh, my sweet garçon, who tiles neath the moon, wipe the tear from your weary eye. For the men of the mail in Abbeyfell are building their castles high. So here's to the man who lives while he can, and success to the man who digs. May we all live to see old Ireland free. And to hell with the Yorkshire pigs. There you are, Pat.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary. We will now call on Tanya Liston from Castlemahon, a recitation, the old thatched house. All of the houses literally around here 100 years ago were thatched. They removed the thatched with grants and various things. There's very few thatched houses left. So Tanya Liston, Castlemahon. Thank you.
A Thatched House by Matt Kennedy. Oh, 'twas good to be a youngster in a thatched house long ago, when the eye lamp from the rafters cast a soft caressing glow. When my father's work was ended, and he sought a little rest, with the household gathered round him, 'neath the spreading chimney breast. When the shutters were closed over, and the door upon the latch, there our happiest hours were counted, 'twixt the earthen floor and thatch. As we children in the kitchen played our noisy children games, and the bellows in the corner fanned the fire to dancing flames. The hopstone was nice and cosy, was my own familiar spot, as I watched the bubbling porridge in the little skillet pot. The woolen socks were darned and the torn clothes were sewn, ere my mother scanned the pages of our boys in Ireland's own. At 9 o'clock my mother said, "Hand down my rosary, please." And young and old, no matter what, fell down upon their knees. My father said the credo and the opening mystery. My mother said the next one and the final litany. When the postman brought the parcel from our cousin in St. Paul, our joy was such that even now the details I recall. 'Twas placed upon the table, and my mum the card untied. Excited too, unknown to us, perhaps she quietly cried. When the wrapping was unfolded, and we glimpsed the precious store, oh, how our shouts would raise the rafters as we danced upon the floor. There was dresses, beads, and jumpers. There was something for us all. When the parcel came at Christmas from New York or far St. Paul. The king may have his castle, and the lord his palace grand. The rich their stately houses, overlooking lake or strand. I don't envy them their grandeur, for they surely cannot know the ecstasy of childhood in a thatched house long ago.
Oh, night or get together would be complete without the tea and buns and thing in the room sometimes even. So we're here now in the middle of all the festivities, and we have the bar and brack and the brown tea pot is very near. So everybody is having their fill and drinking up their hot cups of tea, and the ladies are looking after us very well. So you can see this nice homely pastoral scene, and Mike Berkery is eating all the buns, of course. And there they are, all up along the stairs, all the Knockfierna committee and all the people who are here, going up to the loft. That's the room up to the loft there. And there's a room up above at the very top there with a bed inside in it. And that was above in the loft, there's the corner. And then behind the fire was the room. And you had above in the room and above in the loft. So now I'm leaving this commentary now because I'm going to have my own tea if you don't mind. Okay, George? Thank you.
You've all had your tea, we hope. And anyone who has missed out on the tea will have another round of it at the end of the evening, which is about 12 o'clock. So we have a Castlemahan group here, Tom Donoghue, Anne Phelan, Padraig Phelan, and Deirdre Scanlon will join in with them morning again. And I'll start off with, appropriately enough, the King of the Fairies.
19, 13, 40 for nothing. For blacksmithing the time I shot horses for 5 shillings a set in our money. A half a crown for a set of moors, and 9 pence for one more. And you would have to buy coal, iron and nails and all that. And now they're getting £20 for what I done for 5 shillings. And isn't that a big change?
A fierce change indeed, Jim. Gary McMahon was saying there before he left about the blacksmith that was pulling teeth.
Yes, well, of course, I only heard about that, you see.
You didn't do it?
No. I should, no.
All these ladies in front of the fine mouthful of teeth anyway, so obviously.
I wouldn't have the nerve to do that anyway. It seems that tie a cord onto the tooth, you see, and tie to the anvil, have them outside the anvil. And the blacksmith had a big iron in the fire, and to red hot. And he'd make it die with him with the thing, of course, and he'd put his head, and the tooth was gone.
Simple task. As you said, they charge £20 for that nowadays as well. You know?
Oh, they would. That's a fact.
I believe your father and your grandfather, this goes back a long way, doesn't it?
No, they do. They do go back to the 1800s. I don't know whereabouts.
In the same location, was it?
Well, I think they originally came from Ballinleen. That'd be over around Granna. And my mother came from Abbeyfield. And they were shoemakers. So we were all in the footwork.
Had you any difficulty collecting money for works done?
It was very hard to collect it. Very hard to collect it.
People weren't as wealthy then as they are today, were they?
No. Oh, God, no. We done the work in for nothing. We'd make S-hooks, and an S-hook would have to put it in the fire 2 or 3 times to make it, and we'd make it for nothing. We'd done too much work for nothing.
Yeah. What about gates and ploughs and things? Did you make those?
Oh, we did. We made gates mostly out of old bands of wheels, and firstly you would have to cut the band and then heat it all round, because when that band was put on a timber wheel, it was cold, you see, and it put on. So therefore, if we went about straightening that, you see, without heating it again, it would break. So you'd have to heat it all round anyway, and stick it into a hole in the wall sometime and put it back and straighten it. And that's what we made gates out of. And I remember the last gate I only got £5 for it.
What year was that?
Oh, it could be, I suppose, about 1945 or there around. And I was placing a gate today, a 12-foot gate, £55.
And no quality?
No quality.
No quality. Yeah. Jim Houlihan, I believe, is the first man for the horses.
That's right.
Did you have any good horses in your day? Did you do any race horses or was there any good horses around the locality?
Sure, there was a stud farm alongside me in Ballineel. Mostly, they raced horses there too back in the years gone by, and they had they kept a lot of mares in, and they bred them, and they used to take them to England every year and up to Gulf to sell them.
Was there any famous horse out of that area?
Oh, there was. There was a good mare, I remember, the Perleister was her name. And they had a very well-bred stallion there one time. He was by the Tetrarch. You wouldn't talk to you about the Tetrarch because you wouldn't remember him.
That was all from Ballyneil Stud, was it?
That's right. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
There's a yarn about the gate there that he can't be shut, you know. He couldn't be shut that time. And I was in Newcastle one day inside at birthday cushions, and he says to me, "Is it true that Ballyneil gate can't be shut?" That's right, today, but I was only having him on. And I went away. "You don't believe that yarn?" I said. "Well, sure, I don't know. See whether I better believe it or not." Well, I'll tell you how that originated. There was a pair courting inside the gate one night, and this fellow was going along the road like yourself now, and he heard about this gate that couldn't be shut. And he came back and he closed it, but the fellow that was courting came back and he opened it again. So he went away convinced to see that it couldn't be shut.
They've come a long way in that area nowadays as well, indeed, you know.
Inside the gate.
Did you have any noted callers or travellers? We said travellers used to get their horses done. I assume there's lots of travellers, tinkers as such.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
What names were they used to called to you?
Actually, there's the Bryans there from Rathcale and Quilligans and Sherdans and
And how were they to pay?
Some of them were great. If they had a bigger, they'd pay you.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. We'll move on to the man with the cap. This isn't your first time here, I believe.
And it is not.
Who was here, who used to be here when you were here last? To be 40 years or 50 years, I suppose you were here last, was it?
50.
Yeah. Who was here in those days?
There was Honey Green, the Artemis, no? She kept lodgers here. There was a sister of mine, Nora, stayed here. And Joe the Plucker.
Who was he?
The Artemis.
Plucking geese and things?
Plucking geese and...
Around at farms again, is it?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
He might be in Clare one day, and he might be maybe in some part of Carina the couple of days, you know.
Henny Green, we hear a lot of people talking about her. She was got to town late at night, she was here.
All hours of the night. You meet her from 12 till 3 in the morning, she's coming home.
Yeah. And
the 3 dogs.
How used she, 3 dogs?
3 dogs.
Was she walking or a donkey caravan?
Or walking, Shanksmere.
And why was it so late? Why used she go to town so late?
There she'd be going into neighbours around the town and people, she'd know, you know.
Tim Donovan, the chemist in Redkeel, tells when he was a small young lady staying with Darby Donovan, the chemist, that he'd hear this creepy voice about 12 o'clock at night. Darby, are you in? It was Henny Green.
Oh, that's a fact.
She used to always call.
They always called her. That's the truth.
She was the last person living up around here, I think, was she? On the hillside.
She was. She was. Jim Sullivan died before on Johnny Dean and Artemis.
You used to play cards in all those houses?
I played cards at Jim Sullivan,
yeah.
A penny 45.
That was what, about 1930s, was it?
It would be around that,
40s, yeah.
It ought to be around that.
Do you miss those days?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about it. There were happy times, there were hard times, but there were happy times.
Nan Keefe said there a while ago, the fine music we got from Castlemahon, it brought her back all the way. I won't say how far back it took you back, but it was the very same kind of music you had entertained you in those days. Had you music up here, ever any music in them houses at that time?
The old, what did you call them at all? We'd have the wireless, or the, not at all. No, the gramophone.
The gramophone.
With the horn.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
And what kind of music you used to listen to?
Oh, every sort of it.
And was it always...
The records, you know the record.
Did you ever go to fairs?
Fairs? Indeed I did.
Did you ever come home, I suppose, says the man behind your back? He didn't actually say it at all, no, but...
Well, tell him, if he's asking that question, tell him the last fair I was at, that I lost the hand of the curry comb.
How much used you get paid, can you remember, for going to fairs?
Walking?
Yeah, you went walking.
I walked indeed.
Would you get a half a crown for the day?
Ah, you get more.
Would you?
You would. You could maybe, it all depends on the journey you'll be going.
Yeah. Where used you go?
You could get a fiver. All over.
That would be later years now, it's at a fiver, to be the 60s.
Around 55 or 60.
What fairs used you go to?
Well, I'll tell you what, from the Hill of Poke to the old Fair and Ballycastle.
What ones used you take cattle to, locally?
Oh, locally?
Yeah.
Oh, Kinmallock and Rathkeel.
Kinmallock and Rathkeel.
Rathkeel Fair.
You don't remember Ballingarry Fair, of course?
No.
I think it was 1866 when the last fair was.
I don't remember that, but I know that there was a fair.
Around for that one, yeah.
There was a fair there, all right, but I don't remember it.
1866 to record.
Is that?
We'll move to a younger man now who goes to the Mart. What do you think of the changes, Mike? Mike Hearn?
Big change, but that's for the better.
You wouldn't fancy walking to Kilmallock Mart?
No.
Were you in time? Were you in for the price of the cattle a while ago?
No.
The cattle were very cheap in those days, so we said you'd be inquiring now when those fairs were held. They're going back down again. What changes have you seen around the locality?
Well, of course, we'll say the mats are a big improvement, and the amalgamation of the creameries and everything, but you'd miss the creameries because you have no news, like.
Yeah.
If there was anyone dead, I think you would hear the creameries be the first thing.
Your name is Pan, and tell me I should introduce the people as I come, so I suppose it is only appropriate and right that I should introduce you doubly because the place is full of Noonans.
That's why it's all Noonans. And all have nice names.
Yeah. We leave out names tonight.
Yeah.
Jim Tracy now is a committee member and he's also working on the hill. What do you think of the changes, Jim?
Oh, it's a lot of changes, I should say.
I suppose...
Compared to years ago, times were better. I'd say people were more content, you know, than they are today anyway. We used to have gambles and dances, houses, and you know.
Yeah.
And
were you at any of those kind of gatherings like tonight? Or even on a smaller scale? Any houses like that to music and singing?
well, in the old days, the gambling and things we used to, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be gambling all night, you know, maybe for a turkey or a goose or something.
What do you think of the change? Would you prefer them ones or the ones of today?
Oh, I prefer those times.
The olden times?
Yeah. I think there are more, people are more content.
I must compliment you. You're one of the men working on the scheme. You're doing a fine job across the hill. A lot of changes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Jim Houlihan is our next man at the back. What do you think of the changes, Jimmy? What do you think?
Well, of course, we've seen a lot of progress, and I think that it's really all for the better. But there has been a great change in people. For example, Jack Kelly said there were hard times, but there were happy times. But I think it was easier to please the people in those days. They had less expectations, and they had great moral fibre. I'm not in any way intended to reflect on the younger people, but the people of that era, you know, they'd tackle anything. They had great courage, and they took on everything that came their way. I think that there used to be a great interest in the horses in this area. It was a great place for racing. It had a pint-to-pint meeting in Ballingarry. It had a meeting under the rules in Rathkeale. Now, I think I remember when about the last meeting was held in Rathkeale, but I don't remember the pint-to-pints in Ballingarry, but we used to have 2 meetings every year over at Charles Cross. And everybody, I suppose, as a result of the interest in the horses and the stud farms in the area, they acquired a great interest and a flair for the horses. And I can remember people like Tommy Cook and Fedderman, who was a great Limerick hurler, coming to the pint-to-pints at Charles Cross, and he'd leave his horse alongside the bicycle, and he'd ride him then in the races and lead him home again. And the day before the races, some people would arrive, with the horses would arrive from the station in Charleville or Brewery or Croom, and they'd be housed by local farmers. But it was an occasion of great excitement, and it always finished up with a row in the evening.
What do you think of the changes taking place? You were one of the men we contacted, Ned Guy and myself, at our early outings here, when we thought of having the hill open and the roads open through the hill. What do you think of it now when you've been up there?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted with it. I was up there a few weeks ago, and it's amazing that every Sunday, even during winter, people are now coming up to the hill, because principally, I suppose, because they can drive up. And I'm delighted to see this happen. You know, it's certainly it's a place in which there is a great view, and there's fresh air, and that's something that cannot be had everywhere now for free. And I look forward to seeing many people coming up on the hill this year, and whatever I can do in my own small way to promote the cause, I will do it.
And I suppose this is as near as to heaven as some of us might get. So we will now call on Nora Lynch from Castlemahon for a song. Thank you.
Mountain Queen. It being in the lovely month of May, when fields were fresh and green, I was forced to leave my native home, my age being scarce 18. And when I parted with my dear, our loving tears were seen. In troubled mind I left behind my blue-eyed mountain queen. Farewell to Glen Bay's lofty hills and those lovely mountain views, where sun and moon ride through the gloom, pours forth its brilliant beams. Our castle stands beneath the hill, bound round with laurels green, and in America's plains I will spend my days with my blue-eyed mountain queen. My father is a fisherman, he's on the raging sea. My mother, she through 7 long years sleeps cold beneath the clay. My sisters and my brothers 4, I regard them with esteem, but 'tis little they know how I weep full sore for my blue-eyed mountain queen. God speed the ship across the deep that speeds my love to me. The winds do fill her topsail wide, far to waft her o'er the sea. Our steel-made bow has made a vow for to plough the waves between, and on her breast for to bear the crest of my blue-eyed mountain queen.
Forget the spider in case he comes down ye. Our thanks there to Nora Lynch. Nora won the All-Ireland Championship solo singing only last week, so she deserves an extra round of applause. And now we're back to the man at the foot of Knockfierna Hill himself, Jim Tracy, and the mouth organ, who will play Shanna Golden. Jim Tracy, thanks very much, Jim. Now back to the gentleman again. I want to ask you about the good old days. For lads with collar and tiny, it was the good old days. The thrashing machine. Did you have the thrasher in your days?
Who was the machine was in use? Well, there was a Paddy McMahon, there was a Thomas Griffin.
Where were they from?
Well, Paddy McMahon was from near Kilfinney Creamery, and Thomas Griffin was from near Mornan, Liskinnet. And yes, that was James Hogan.
Any other names of the owners of the mills now, thrash machines going about?
There was a Patrick Cronin from near Ballingarry.
Listen, Lara.
And I remember the old horse machine. You had to just take the corn from the sheaf, and you had to win a machine in to winnow to clean the wheat.
Is that the one where the horse went around the circle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you had to put that through the winning machine to knock the chaff off of it.
Did that operate at the same time as the thrashing machine, or was it before it?
Oh, before the thrashing machine.
Yeah.
See, when the thrashing machine came on in night, they had the whole operation in the one. It took the chaff and just the clean seeds came out.
How many people used to be working on the thresher? What was the setup?
Well, from 30 down to maybe 15 or that way. And it was terrible hard on the women in the house to cater for feeding them.
And the feeding.
Yeah, because you know, with an open fire like that in most houses, they had to try and prepare meals and. Yes.
What used the 15 of them be doing, Mr. What was the team layout, so to speak?
You know, a couple of men piping sheaves up to the machine.
You mean above cutting the sheaves?
Two men cutting the sheaves, and you had a couple of men feeding it like.
Yeah.
Then you had a couple of men on the ground watching the bags.
Yeah.
The seeds went up, and you had a man or two was on the way.
And moving back the straw from the mouth of the thresher.
Yeah, a couple above the reeds, 3 or 4 above the reeds, they went back.
Building the straw up.
I'm young and innocent in that business myself.
I know.
How many had you killed in the rats?
Oh, that was the job there too.
The man on the ground.
The man on the ground is that job, eh?
With a few good dogs.
Yeah. And I believe it's very fast work.
Oh, it was.
What kind of a tractor was in use, you said?
It was a
Force and Major, they had.
TVO, the paraffin police.
Yeah.
You know.
There were 4 tractors, 4 nans, they used to call them. The ivory one were TVO, the diesel tractor around 40.
That's about the 40s now you're talking about.
Yeah, about the 40s and 30s.
And used the same 15 move on, or?
Well, in every long shelter later.
There was to practice what they call coring to.
Yeah.
You will be 3 weeks or a month.
How many would come out of each house to move with it onto the next man's house?
It would depend, you know, on where they'd be going. Yeah.
If they had 2 or 3 sons, would the sons and the father go on to the next place?
The sons would probably go anywhere. There was a bit of fun in the whole thing too, you know.
Yeah. It was a big day really for the locality and for the
It was.
And
a great day for the hens.
And you're ported in that time like that.
It was hard work, I understand.
Oh, hard work,
It was very
right.
fast to introduce.
Depending on the weather too. And
yes.
Do you get stuck occasionally on gateways just?
They had old iron cleats in some of the wheels, you know, they're rooted in an old concrete or a stone yard. When they start spinning, they go down and down.
What about killing the pig? We have the battle now behind the pig. Escapers that
there were pigs killed in mostly every house, even farm labourers. They often killed a pig.
Yeah.
If they could afford to, like.
Was there a special man for killing the pig?
There was generally.
Who used to do that in this area?
Johnny Hayes, nobody.
Yes, there was a relation of Jim Tracy.
Yeah.
There was a Bill Sullivan over near us.
That's right.
And it was his job going around to the various
yes, and you know they were great at it because they had great practice.
I go over here to the young ladies about feeding the trash and the boys with the trash and mill, you know. Marion, another lady from the bottom of the hill. Did you ever see one?
I saw one, but I don't remember them at all.
Did you ever see one in use?
No, Pat.
Well, she's not going to give away her age tonight anyhow.
Get ready for the women.
We need to face to move around. Did you see a thresher in use?
I did, yes. I was very young, but I saw.
Around 25 years ago.
I saw it.
And were you involved in the kitchen in that?
A bit, yeah. They used to cook dinners and all, bacon and cabbage always for the big crowd.
Yeah. How many pots would they put down?
Oh, a lot of them.
How many would they use a full
20 or
20 men.
20 men about that, yeah. It was a big day.
Yeah. And would the women move in to help the people in that house the same as the
Not really, no. There'd be always a few women in the house anyway because there was always...
The kitchen was her area. They're not threatened.
Not like now, there was always a few women at home, you know.
Yeah.
I just barely remember to see it, I was young.
You had no washing machine for the washing?
No, dear.
Could you turn this?
Those ladies over there.
Were you ever involved in the trashing machine?
Oh yes, all the time. Since I was small, even.
Was it a day you looked forward to?
Oh well, it was a hard day anyway for
Yeah.
the girl women. You'd have didn't a small pot at all, but you'd have that big black pot. You'd have all the potatoes
20
along.
gallon, I think, is it?
Oh yes, whatever it was. Yeah, that's right.
And would you be preparing for a couple of days beforehand for that many people?
Well, you'd have to have baked, everything baked.
Yeah.
But you'd have also have to have a tart or something different. You couldn't believe it was always the
tarts,
same.
I suppose.
Yeah, or something anyway, different.
And if they didn't get enough to eat, I suppose one was open to.
Oh well, they wouldn't.
Discussion in the next house.
Yeah, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. They'd all be the same, really.
All the
Yeah,
same.
they were all the same.
You had no problems like that.
Yeah, no.
Do you miss those days? Do you think that they're a loss, or do you think people are better off without them?
Well, they were, help was getting scarce, and when you wouldn't have help, it was equal then. You could forget about it. Yeah, they were gone away.
I suppose if they had a trash machine in London, there'd have plenty help nowadays with all the Irish.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you, Mrs. Henley. Had you any dealings with the trash?
No.
Did you have any corn at all in your fields? Did you
No.
do it by hand? Was there anyone cutting with a siren thing?
No, I don't remember anyone cutting corn.
What about yourself? Did you have the thrasher in?
We did, yes.
Had you any difficulty coming back up again out of the glen?
No.
A good, powerful track.
Good, powerful, like the name.
Did you prepare for many days on that?
Well, maybe the day before, you'd be expecting with the neighbours to come.
Was it hard work?
I don't know. We didn't consider.
Cooking now I'm talking about.
We didn't consider it so then,
You were used to have work to the
exactly. We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Didn't know any better.
Did you miss those days?
Oh, I do really. No, they were good old days, and it was something to look forward to.
People had more time to talk to.
Exactly. They were very more neighbourly then.
Yeah.
You know, you had everybody in.
Why do you think that has changed?
Oh, I suppose, I don't know. It was better time, more modern.
Television, I suppose.
Definitely, it has ruined the life.
It is a case of
No, exactly.
Americans, what about all this foreign stuff in television and that?
What about it?
It's come a long way, hasn't it?
No, I don't like it.
A lot of the old ways and traditions and stories that are long gone.
They are.
You've no television, have you?
No.
Do you miss it?
Why?
The television?
No.
You couldn't miss it, you never had it?
No.
And have you seen a television?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
It's only all foolish game.
Foolish game. Do you think were the people better off without it?
They were.
Yeah. You know literally most of the houses down in the countryside there. I have met you over the past 20 years here, and how is it you'd know most of the houses? You point them out to me there. You just spend a lot of time on the hill in your young days.
Yeah. Always in the hill, sure.
Yeah. Looking at the various landmarks.
Yeah.
How many counties could you pick out off the hilltop?
It's Dracul and...
Local places.
Yeah. The whole lot are down around, all around that you can see off at the top of the hill.
Did you notice the big change in the lights? We'll say long ago, we'll say you wouldn't have had any lights. Nowadays you can see Limerick City, and it's like a New York City literally.
Yeah.
Did you have any lights to see long ago?
No, light.
Just black.
Just pure black.
So
You people, He used to be nearly black, dark when we'd be going home from Hania, when she'd be ready to go to the town.
You used to be here till she went down and you went across the hill.
Yeah.
And would you be afraid going over the hill on your own? You were a mile across the hill.
No.
You wouldn't be afraid of the fairies or the booty?
No, but sure, there's no fairies or booty, man.
No?
No. I'd always have someone with me.
Yeah. At time you used to go on about 12, half 11, was it, when she used to go to town?
I know she used to go in the winter nights about, we'll say 7 o'clock in the winter nights.
Yeah.
And it's pure dark. And whoever be here, I have to go away home. Then,
She have goats in here in the house?
No, but in the shed out, that was out.
No, it was in the shed?
It was.
But there wasn't a puckcoat looking down there, no?
No.
There's not a puckcoat looking...
Sure, Jack. Jack.
If he changed
Jack.
his beauty.
Hey, Jack Kelly, sure, I never see puckcoat coming down.
The sheds outside.
It's always the sheds, was it?
The sheds outside.
Yeah. Betty Fitzgerald. Did you have the trash machine in the bottom of the hill?
We had
It was went to the bottom and it was in the top he was heading for. And what did you think of those days?
Good old days too.
Yeah. The trashing machine day seemed to be a special day in the life of farming community.
Yeah, very special day. The neighbours would get together and help out.
And do you think that day is a loss? Is it a pity it has gone?
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Pity.
I suppose in our time really we've seen a lot of changes. From the fairs we've moved on to the marts, and from the trashing machine you moved on to corn mills and so on.
To have a lot of progress already.
Lot of
Yeah,
changes.
changes.
Are the people the better off for it, you think?
Well, they are, I suppose. They are.
Thanks.
They are.
Thanks, ladies. Tracy family is well represented here tonight. We have a niece of Jim Tracy, Joanne Tracy, who will sing Limerick, You're Full of Ladies.
Limerick, you're a lady, you're Shannon waters, tears of joy that flow, the beauty that surrounds you, I'll take it with me, love, wherever I go, while waking in the arms of distant waters, I knew they finds me far away from home. Limerick, you're a lady, the one true love that I have ever known. As children, you and I spent endless days of fun in winter snows and summer's golden sun. We fished in silver streams, the fabric of our dreams was fashioned by your loveliness, and so I have to say, Limerick, you're a lady, you're Shannon waters, tears of joy that flow, the beauty that surrounds you, I'll take it with me, love, wherever I go, while waking in the arms of distant waters, I knew they finds me far away from home. Limerick, you're a lady, the one true love that I have ever known.
It's almost 11:15, I suppose. Again, we'd like to thank those of you who are still with us. We'll probably go on until 12 or a bit after, probably. And we would like to thank Hannah Brown. She's not with us. She's been with the doctor. She's the flu. She's put in an enormous amount of work into the committee so far. As a committee, it's coming on very well. And again, I would like to thank you all for coming. And hopefully, between Christmas Day and New Year's, or Little Christmas next, we probably might try to repeat the dose, so to speak. It seems to be quite enjoyable as far as I can see, and people seem to enjoy it. Would you agree with me? No? So hopefully we might try to do the same again come the end of the year. I heard a story about a man in Ballingarry there recently, Jack Kelly, would know him quite well. And his mother was in hospital, Paddy was his name. And this man, he was a kind of a nutball, And this fellow asked him how his mother was Nancy. He says, how is Nancy? She's not good, he said, she's in the regional hospital. How would you think she'd be inside in the flat of her back in the regional hospital under Dr. Nash? So now Mrs. Lynch of Castleman reminded me of that. So we will now go back to Nora Lynch, our All-Ireland singer. It takes a while to say. We'll now go back to Nora Lynch, our All-Ireland singer, for the top of Barna Hill, or was it the top of Knockfierna Hill? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
Do my eyes deceive me, or is it but a dream? The golden veil of Limerick with its coat of verdure green, a rarer sight was never seen, nor never will again, than that golden veil of Limerick you can view from Barna Hill. When standing on that summit of an ancient Danish rock, you can view each town and city far better than a map. Newcastle West before me lies, Good Street and Phelan's Mill, all surrounded by a leafy scene at the top of Barna Hill. You can view the river Shannon and the hills far off in Clare, Askeaton, Ard, Abbeyfield, Rathkeil and Town of Glen, Ashford, Croke and Patrick's Well, and lovely sweet Adair. You can view them all from Curtin's Lawn at the top of Barna Hill. To the right is Ballingarry, it's the chief town in that plain, whereof the Lord of Desmond a stately deer did slain, where heroic men in bygone days they showed great power and skill. And my burial place is Monaghay at the foot of Barna Hill.
Thank you, Nora. And I'll tell you the next joke the next night. I'd like to ask you gentlemen here about wakes. Do you remember the wakes when people were let out of the house?
Oh, yes. That night there been plenty of drink, and you have people there going to the barrel all night, fond of it, and clay pipes and tobacco, and to handle totally that in the morning, apparently.
What's the position of the clay pipes? Did everyone get a clay pipe?
Everyone got a clay pipe.
Why were they giving out clay pipes?
I don't know what was the idea of it, like, and you got
I know
tobacco.
they were giving out the whiskey, all right.
I know. and they gave out the pipe and a bit of tobacco.
Yeah.
Whatever the idea of it was, I don't know, like, but it was an old custom, like.
I suppose you wouldn't be old enough to remember when they would have keeners, is that the word, Peter? The people in keening.
No, but no.
For the dead.
No, but no. No, but no, no.
Back too far for you.
Yeah.
Were you at a wake ever, Jack?
I was at several of them.
Yeah.
Several of them, Pat. How do you fit it right there? The clay pipes in the backy.
And lemonade, I suppose.
How will you know? It's all depends.
Yeah.
It all depends on what they want to drink. That is look. The lemonade will be there too. And Dol Crosskean.
Yeah.
The Crosskean.
Yeah. What was that?
You know the big jar.
Oh, the big jar.
The Crosskean, Mr. Valley.
Yeah, it's what you're like that.
Yeah,
Well,
Thank you. We have up here behind us.
Bigger than that.
The pig is line.
It is bigger than that altogether.
Well,
it'll be 2 gallons.
What was
2 gallons.
What was in those ones now? Was it whiskey or porter or what was in that? This one is Thomas Burke.
To be porter.
Thomas Burke.
Yeah.
Can you get him, George?
Can you?
Thomas Burke.
Originally, but they used it for porter after.
Porter after.
This one is Thomas Burke, grocer, spelt merchant, and ironmonger. Ballingarry.
Ballingarry, that's right. Because I had the bar.
I do.
I do. He had the bar before the other crowd, before.
Ballads.
Welsh.
Oh, yeah, Welsh.
What used to do in the iron, supply horses? Did each pub have his own jar, so to speak?
Man, I don't know. Did it have the different, no?
No.
Had it their own jars?
Not that.
No, I don't know.
No, there was no.
And how is it some of them have names and others have no names?
Well, I suppose that they lies to themselves, some to advertise themselves, I suppose.
We have the Kilmallock, the southern, is it? Mineral Water Works Kilmallock.
Yeah, that's all advertising, sure.
What would he have been selling? Whiskies? It was a whiskey with Kemen them originally.
Mineral Waters, Kilmallock Sullivan's.
No. Isn't Sullivan's, yeah. The southern Mineral Water Works. He must have been supplying whiskey as well, I assume, was he?
Oh, I think he would, of course.
There was modern minerals inside.
Well, that was, of course. Well, why they'd have these jars, say people be thrashing and they'd send for a couple of gallons of porter.
Yeah.
They'd have 5-gallon jars and then 3-gallon jars and 2-gallon jars, yeah. And they'd send you out the porter them, but they'd have to bring back the jar again and things. I think that they were very valuable, now, weren't they?
Yeah, they're in the main, right. We can't discuss that matter in great detail. Account of the man behind my back with the video, George Daly, because nowadays if you were up around 2.5 full, they would have other kind of things inside in those jars, you see, you know. And bigger jars than that. Did they have any of that other stuff around this area at all?
No, not around here. You'd have to go more east. Yeah.
Go east or west?
Or south.
I think they used to say west for a woman and east for the land, was that it?
That's right.
But the land was so good around here, I think most of them seem to stay local.
That's right.
We'll now have a song from Mrs. Noonan. They tell me she's a fine singer. That's typical rambling housemen, they usually refuse to sing. And all we can guarantee you is heat to your rear. They'll join in with you there now. We could even have the Granna Choir joining in here, you know.
Your old Killarney, tonight I am sighing. In silence I wander far over the sea, to the green hills and dells and the lakes of Killarney. Back to the old home I once used to know. Back to the land where the skies are the bluest, and to each dear scene I once used to know. To my own fair Colleen, whose heart is the truest. Oh, Grandma Cree, sure I long to be there. Killarney, Killarney, the place that I love, with its lakes clear and bright as the blue sky above, where we told love's sweet stories and vowed to be true. I am sighing tonight for Killarney and you. In far off of Killarney, the bright sun is shining, and on the green hills the wildflowers grow fair. For the colleen I left there, my poor heart is crying. Daytime and night time I long to be there. I long to return where the shamrock is growing, to stroll mid the clover all heavy with dew, and to scent the sweet fragrance the wild winds are blowing, just to whisper again love's old story to you. Killarney, Killarney, the place that I love, with its lakes clear and bright as the blue sky above, where we told love's sweet stories and vowed to be true. I am sighing tonight for Killarney and you.
We'll invite that lady again the next night. Back to them in here for a few more minutes. We haven't that. I think we've covered most. But how many mortar cows then? How many mortar cows were in the parish? Who got the first one back in the early days?
Well, I don't know who got the first one, but there was about 5 in about 1939 or 40, and like cars went off the road in 1942, all private cars.
Who had those cows? Trying to know you're talking about.
Heatherman's. There was a James Carroll, a Daniel Reardon, Con Curtin, he had a Hackney car, and there was a Jack O'Brien, he was in Hackney, and in the parish priest and the 2 curates, they had a car each.
What kind of cars did they have? What kind of mortar cows? I know it's mortar cows.
I know. Well, Con Curtin had one of those big old Model T4s, with high cars with a peak in them.
Yeah.
And there were. There's
with a handle.
Yes, and I think Con Curtin had a V8, whatever kind of car that was. They called it a V8.
Then Reardon, baby Ford.
That's right, you're quite right.
Yeah, baby Ford, then Reardon.
And James Carroll, a baby Ford, I think.
That's right, that's right.
Who else in mortar cows? Out there you'll get missed out.
Denny Sherry, an old car, a big Model T with a clock up on the top of it. He used to do Hackney driving.
What do you mean a clock on top of it?
Well, the big Model T's, there was a big, like a compass in the top of the car.
What on top?
The engine there.
The bonnet.
The bonnet.
The bonnet.
Yeah, yeah.
That was Dan Sheehan and Pennoon about the first mortar cows in the locality. I want to talk about the carbon, correct? All the night is gone.
Because long on up, when you come to about the month of April, that will ice. You're up in the morning, you'll be up that time, not late now.
Have you heard him lately?
No, and him for the last 4 or 5
Here's
years.
the scandal I'm moving to you. Did you ever hear the carbon, correct?
No, never.
Did you not get up early in the morning?
No.
No?
I say he's gone.
Well, what does young ladies, we're missing young ladies all night. Young ladies married, I'm talking about. But anyway, we
There's a lot younger than me here.
Did you ever hear the carbon,
No.
correct? You're joking.
No, I'm not.
We'll test their age later. These girls up the hill here up the side. Did you ever hear the carbon trick? No. Did you? Did you? No. You're joking.
I'm not.
You never heard the carbon
know what it sounds like.
I did. And I caught one. I caught one when I was a young fella.
When did you hear him last?
It is about 7 or 8 years ago.
As late as that?
Yeah.
Not since?
No, no.
I did. I used to hear the concrete, yeah. Not for a long time now. I suppose it's 10 years. I suppose it's nearly since we had. Long time ago, anyway.
You mustn't get up early in the mornings, man, because usually early in the morning we have the corn track. Pat, you have him.
Yes, we have, Pat.
Hear him less.
I'd say it is 4 or 5 years ago now, and I'd say with the introduction of silage, in other words, there are not that many late meadows there now anymore. The corncrake isn't as...
Where did you hear him 5 years ago?
Oh, behind it home. That's right, yeah, behind it home.
You will remember that rare bird today fairly well, I'm sure.
I often have 3 or 4 of them together.
Yeah. Have you heard him?
Oh, no, not for the last 10 or 15 years. See, the silage is a modern way out. Because they can't hatch or anything, see. They're cut up in the process of making the silage.
But we would have thought that where you have literally 200 acres of untouched land around the top of the hill that he might have survived. How is it he wouldn't have survived in this area?
You would never hear him in that kind of a country long ago.
It was wet land, I think, in meadows, was it?
Well, yes, rich meadows. You'd hear him.
Rich meadows.
We didn't like to hear him because we'd be coming off and we'd all dance in the morning and would be late.
You'd know it was 5:30 in the morning. A very nice sound from the corncrake, wasn't it?
Oh, lovely, sir. Lovely. All these buds, there's a world of buds gone, you see.
Yeah.
And they're a loss to the environment, you know.
Yeah. The corncrake is preserved now.
They're preserved in
what's left of them.
And they're appealing to people like to do what they can about it, but there's nothing can be good about it.
Their list and the last man I was speaking to was also involved in the building of the cross back in 1950, and he will give us a song.
And sun sings in the west, and the tile of a long day's o'er. Though the road may be long to the lilt of the sun, I forget I was weary before. Far ahead where the blue shadows fall, I will come to contentment and rest. Under the tile of the day will be all charmed away in my little grey home in the west. There are hands that will welcome me in. There are lips I am burning to kiss. There are 2 eyes that shine just because they are mine, and 1,000 things other men miss. It's a corner of heaven itself, though it's only a tumble-down nest. And with love brooding there, why no place can compare with my little grey home in the west. I think that's the most of it.
Thanks very much, sir. We'll now ask the Fitz here to describe some of those implements, farming implements around the wall. The quins up here.
The first thing now you wrote is a drill quin, they call it. The horses were more apart when they were opening drills than if they were ploughing. The second one then is a ploughing quin. There were 2 smaller quins now to be attached onto the end of that quin. The iron at the end, they were called slines. And the next thing is a pony's collar. And the straddle in next, and the breeching at the tip of the trace hanging up it like. And the next thing in your collar was a donkey's collar. And, you know, winkers. There were smaller winkers for a pony and a larger one for a horse. The next thing now is a hay knife, just for cutting hay and go in either a hay barn or in a rig. You come on in, you have a lantern. That was the way you show around long go when you go to night, you want to see cows and like. There's There was no electricity in the
Television they have nowadays, you know.
Television.
The bed.
All right,
See the
that's
cow
right,
moving.
that's right.
That's right, Mike.
That's right.
Man to vouch for those.
Yes. That's
Every house had one.
A clock nowadays. Everybody a clock like that long ago. An 8-day clock was it they called it, in fact. And you owned it
8 days.
every 8 days, like, keep it going.
There was very nice work in the clock, very nice design.
Oh, very well done, like, yeah.
Some of those wealthy farmer ladies all here admiring the quality, you know.
That's right. And they're normal figures or what they want.
Yeah.
Than the army figures are.
Yeah.
Well, good night, Jay.
Good night,
Good night. Thanks. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Right.
The hay knife now first.
Yep.
That was used long ago to cutting hay in a hay barn. You were cutting out benches, they call it. And through manpower, you was up and down to cut with it, and you left a grand tidy job after that.
Was it hard to cut hay with that?
Well, you wanted it well edged, and a good top on it.
Yeah.
Most important.
Good pint.
A good pint, more important than the edge.
It was edged.
You drive down through it like.
And they were saying when they were good to tell lies was great age.
Was great age, that's right.
Would you get a bad cut maybe? Did anyone ever get badly cut with them?
Well, no, Pat, like, you're cutting in front of yourself, right? You're turning your...
We never heard of anyone getting cut.
You're cutting that way, look.
Yeah.
And one day and you never know.
Well, you were... I suppose there's a difference of a man knowing what he was doing and a fellow who didn't know what he was doing.
Right. That's right.
There was a fellow in Newcastle West, he got 16 stitches one day last week.
Well, he turned upside down. He must have it turned upside down.
Yeah. Now
well, back to the winter now, there's a small winter there, right? And they call that a split bit. That's the bit that goes into the horse's mouth. That's just in the small winters. And on the big winter then, you have a straight bit. That was for a horse that had a tough mouth, right? If you didn't turn with the split bit, he'd surely turn with the straight bit. And the blinkers, you hear them calling out today and racing. Well, they'd be more clear now than the top of the winters in Dimwell now. And we go back. The collar now is the leather part that's lined with horse's hair. And on the outer side, you call it the hames. And the crooks hanging off the hames, you tackle on the traces, either be plown or on a car, you run the traces in crooks. The straddle, that was put on the horse's back. And what you call it in long part?
The back bend.
The back bend.
A rest on it.
Rest on the timber part of it. Like. So it kept off the back leg.
Who was the last careless maker in Ballingarry?
Oh, Paddy Heffernan.
Yes, he did long.
Oh, he did a long time. Oh, Mary.
Conor Regan came after him for a bit.
No, I never know.
Yeah. See him there?
Maybe, no. Maybe. I didn't see him. Like.
Had you many shoemakers in Ballingarry in your young days?
Well, one in particular, he was... Kelly was the name. Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly. And then his son Mitch. The bridge and then, that's the thing hanging off the straddle with the chains on it. And that was put onto the crooks of a chair and joined onto the straddle, that strap overhead. That wanted a horse to back. That was the way of setting back the chair. So it's all to be there up there, obviously.
We'll talk to those two gentlemen for one moment about the bustle churning behind near Peter Crim and that man from Newcastle West that spent February the 28th above on top of Knockfierna Hill with Mike Hearn. Mike's wife was still wondering what the two of them were at with the three others on top of the hill, you know, from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. But the churn, did you have one of those pan your place?
Well, we had with a sort of a big round one, a different type of one, and a barrel.
Stand.
And there was also in small tubs where they put in the milk, and they collect the cream and put it into the churn barrel. You'd have to churn it in and test it.
Did you churn it yourself?
No.
Did you ever use one of those with the barrel type of any of them?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't use any of them. They were like on before our type. But we're thrown around all right.
Jack, I don't know why I ask you about pishogues.
All to me. Why not that him?
Being a Clareman myself and very near Biddy Early, as I said, we always had a particular wonderful knowledge on the churn and springtime and May Eve and what that does to the milk.
Yeah, the double D.
Did you ever hear of anything about the churn or people working pishogues and that on May Eve? Did you ever hear those things in May Eve?
Oh, indeed, they had about them hundreds of
What
them.
would they do?
But I wouldn't believe them, though, in them. If they were able to do that, then there'd be 3 millionaires over and over.
What did you ever hear them doing?
Oh, well, I often heard them about the fat mate and the double ditch.
How do you mean the double ditch?
All to me, that's all to me, dim times.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah, you know, yeah, Biddy Hell.
Where did they put the meat and such?
Days. Oh, yeah.
Push out the meat. Let me open about the eggs. Where did you put the eggs, did you say? Who?
They put eggs in the drills. And the hay. Eggs in the hay. And like,
what would happen then?
They'd be thinking like as far as the things are going in you, all cattle dying you or things.
And did much of that happen around that area?
Well, not a whole pile, maybe a few like.
Did you ever find eggs or anything?
Well, we did a few times.
What you do with them?
How do we burned them? They tell you to burn them was the right thing.
That was the thing to do with them. They said, all right,
Holy water.
Did you ever hear of them queer things happening?
I did. Indeed.
When did it happen? May Eve, was it?
Well, around May Eve, yeah.
November, I think, a little bit maybe was it?
We'll be shaking the holy water May Eve to keep away.
Do you still shake the holy water in May?
I don't think so.
Do you shake it?
We do.
Who do you shake it on? Cows and animals and...
Right, yes, yeah.
Do you still do it, you do?
It's an old tradition, really.
Well, she never saw the trash machine, she never saw the horses plough, but she shakes holy water on May Eve. So some traditions have lived on. We have a barrel here, you might describe the pigs, Liz.
Oh, yes.
Behind you. There's a fine pig winking there.
That's right. And years, a few years back, anyway, every farmer kills a couple of pigs. You know, sent for the butcher, or they call him. He killed the pig, opened him and cleaned him. They took out the guts, and they were cleaned, and the women made puddings of them. And then, after a couple of days, that pig was cut up into pieces. Put into the barrel. You put a layer of salt first in the barrel, then you put a flitch of the meat, then more salt, and so on until you had your pig covered. And then that had turned into pickle, they call it, and to preserve the meat. And that meat then was taken out, hung up over the fire on a stick.
Like here now, Wilson.
Like that height, and reached to the bowl.
That pig is up there so long, at least he was hanging somewhere so long you'd think he'd nearly talk to you at this stage. But how long would it last hanging up like that?
Oh, it would last for years, Pat.
Years, would it?
George. And to run yellow meat.
Why did they hang it over the fire?
Well, to dry it and to give it a bit of colour. To season it, to call it, Pat, like.
And if you didn't have a good fire underneath it?
Oh, it doesn't matter how fire, you'll be surprised what to do.
I was in Bunratty last Sunday at these thatched houses and they had bacon hanging up at that. And a lot of the bacon was falling down and dripping down on the floor on the table.
Oh, well, that was fresh, Pat.
Yeah.
That was fresh, that was turned down and down.
But they also said if there wasn't enough heat that the salt would melt and that.
So, but when you come to that point, to never weep.
All forever and
of course, long ago now, if it did weep, it was bound to rain.
Rain?
Rain, yeah.
It was 5 to 12 by our 1870 clock. Those clocks were bought for 13 and sixpence in those days. And I will now pass you over to another one of our committee members, John O'Riordan, to sing The Wild Rapparee.
Oh, how green are the fields that are washed by the fen. How grand are the homes that those spillers live in. How fine are the crops on the valley to see. But the heat is the home of the wild rapparee. This morning the soldiers returned from the heat. Their leader had sword drawn from its sheath. Its bright blade was dripping with red blood to see. From the head of an outlaw, the wild rapparee. There are clouds all around, like a mantle tonight. There's no star in the heavens, and the moon gives no light. The hair in its form just cringes in fear. There is mourning tonight for the wild rapparee. There's a stone-covered grave on a bare mountainside. There's a plain wooden cross where these words are inscribed. Kneel down, dear stranger, say one Ave for me. I was sentenced for being the wild rapparee.
We will now have a couple of verses of an Irish song from John's brother David, who is always very active in defending the Grana cause and also a very active member in our committee. Thank you, David.
On Wakatu on Kulan, she a shuvilan abore, Modin yal trukta, is gone smooth her a broken. He saw me ogan sul glass, a zulen a fosu, Agni watchit morun sa, on guntas is joy glow. On Wakatu no spirpan, she shantin pony or Mary, she a king. She on puerok a feet na shantin, come your penny, no ere gonrin.
Thanks very much, David. We'll come back to the two ladies here beside me. about describing those items. We missed this lamp up here before we moved down to the ladies again. That was a candle holder, that one, and then you have the butter bat, and the top item is for hold a rush lamp. The item here above, if you pick it up there, lads. That was for a rush light in the olden days. What I have here in my hand is a carbine lamp. The light was very good out of doors. You put carbine in and a drop of water and light a match, I think. Was that it? I don't look that age, like, but I hold my age quite well, you know. A very, very good light out of them, and then it went onto the bicycle, and away she went. And depending, it would run at the early traffic lights then, depending which way you were going. You had the red light on one side and the green light on the other side, you know. That's the carbide lamp. Those jars here beside me, familiar with using those equipment, those fireside items. Where you going?
That was the first one, the griddle. Griddle fan, isn't it?
The griddle, yeah.
But I never used it to do.
No, to before our time.
Before our time.
Yeah.
And what's the next one then? The kettle. When the
the irons and
the fox iron.
That was the flat iron. You put that into the fire, to be in the fire. And this was the box iron. You're ready there. And there was an iron to go into that. You'd ready it and put it into it. And that was where we had iron and lango. What else?
Sure.
The brand. That was the brand for the put alongside the fire for the put the pot.
Pots up in it. The kettle.
Yeah.
That one.
The shoe last.
Yeah. The last.
That's a good example of one, George.
Yeah. The shoes. The women had never used the last.
That would have taken the heel, that would take the smaller shoe, that would take, that's a lady's shoe, that's a man's shoe.
Or a child shoe, yeah. That's
child shoe.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. The tongues, of course, but you open it up. The frying pan. Frying pan.
The weight of it is
one, yeah.
Strong women in
metal
those days.
one, yes, metal frying pan. But you want to be careful not to drop it off the heat. And that was the brand to put it on it.
The fire itself has a bellows, so if you...
Yeah.
Did you have many bellouses in Limerick? No.
Oh,
we had, yeah. Every house.
Every house had a bellows.
Because in Bunratty, there's only one house had one. The golden bellows, all the other ones. So it must have been the poor Clare farmers had no bellows.
They might have the hand bellows, you know.
Just. No. Fill out. As Mikey Herman said, every house had one.
They had two wings, so the goats have two wings.
One upstairs and one downstairs.
Well, maybe. Yes, rather collect with the wings.
Yeah.
Or they were our dusters, like that.
Yeah, yeah.
What else was it?
Just having at the school to
butter patty, making the rolls and butter rolls. There should be another one. We have two of them.
The different designs in the butter.
That's right.
As the one used to say, I've got the knobs and the balls.
Very appropriate.
Anyway, one time she said, bring me butter, and I wanted knobs and balls.
I was going to ask you about your school days. How did you, what did you take to school with you when you were going? Like nowadays it takes languages and that provided with many thanks to the compliments of the Golden Vale farmers and that kind of thing. What did you take with you to school?
Mostly corn cake and a bottle of milk.
Oh my God, we had plain bread cake, we could have cakes.
Of tea maybe?
No,
no, a bottle of milk.
Bottle of milk.
And even bottles of tea?
Well, in the winter time.
What did you take to school when you were going he's made his re-entry? What milk? Anyone take tea to school?
We in the winter time we put the
bottles.
In the winter time there's the bottles inside.
I never need to talk for the Clare lads up in the hills at Clare. We had a turf fire and the people just bringing turf and you'd line HR sauce bottles full of tea straight across the front of the fire to heat them. Did you heat the milk?
Yes. We put in saucepans on top of that.
We had no milk water up in Clare, you see, so we had only tea. You had more milk down this side, so you got bottles of tea. We'll move on over here. Will you describe those bottles and stand up there while you're at it? Chest float is on the outside.
The disinfectant I used. Just flew.
Cronin, did you do shopping there?
I did indeed.
TJ Cronin, Newcastle West,
yes, indeed.
agricultural house, sold it.
For the fine shop too.
Yeah. How long is that shop closed?
Oh God, there's a couple of shops closed since then.
There's an awful lot of them closed
since that, you know, since the Cronins were there, yes,
The eye lamped in was every place, of course, and we have the government stamp there, imprinted in the bottle. This is bottle by Patrick Dooley, Bishop Street.
Oh yes.
But here's bottled Guinness, used to.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Peter? Peter?
A half pint for you. I never had a few bottling it. I know he sold it all right, but I never had a few bottling it. The family he did.
Was there any other bottles in Newcastle?
There was National Mineral Waters, of course.
In Guinness now is there port?
Yeah, well, Nash's did Guinness as well. Yeah.
Brewery Lane, what about it? Wasn't there a brewery?
There was a couple of breweries there, all right, but I wouldn't remember them. All right.
Long before your time in mine.
Long before.
We have a Nash's one here now, fairly old bottle again, Nash's Newcastle West, with a round bottom. The reason they had, in case you mightn't have the answer, you mightn't be as old as I am, the reason they had the round bottom in the bottom of the bottle was when the sugar was on it, you see, the sugar wouldn't sit in the bottom, that the bottle would always fall down and it would circulate the sugar through the lemonade. Did you ever hear that version of the round bottom? Before your time in mine, was it?
I'd say it's that bottle now, you know. It was a round bottle, all right, but it was a different...
You'll get it more round than that even, yeah. With a glass top.
Yeah.
What else used to use those bottles for in the farming?
We'd use them for anything.
Dosing cattle and...
Dosing cattle, yes, indeed, exactly. Yeah. We often carried the bottles to school.
Milk and
milk, yeah. That's all the bottles we had, something like that.
I suppose it wouldn't be right for me to go without
the woodbine.
Williams woodbine.
Yes, true. Kelly wood.
Anyone smoking woodbines in the house today? Tonight?
No.
Gone?
There are 2 then for 4 pence.
10 for 4 pence?
For the old 4 pence.
And you've got a fine strong fag as well.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. The hair oil bottle, George's. The hair. That'll put a shine in your hair for 2 pence.
All the boys used to use that, and then they went on to the cream, onto the pudding cream. Yeah, the real cream came on after the brilliant tin. That's your 2 pence for that, you know.
What was this one here used for then? Was that? Could be still inside, there's still something inside it. Marion Heron already is black in the back, so I suppose no point in making her black in the front as well. That little mirror in the back, George, is also Will's woodbines from the good old days, there's a bit. How did they put the cross in the bottle?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But I don't know.
It's very rare now, isn't it?
They tell me you put it in with sticks and with bits of cord, and you give it a pull, if it was inside. I think is how they open doors, you know.
It's supposed to be the
crucifixion.
Yeah. And this is the leather gun up to put on the nails, I suppose.
Yeah.
And there the sword, the pierces.
Yeah. And the hammer that drove in the nail.
Nails, yeah. And there's some, what's this?
Another bit. It is very well done anyhow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good detail. You have the item inside, you have the horns and the heads, supposed to.
Yeah. It was a smattering that did it.
Yeah.
Smarter than me, anyway.
Lovely.
It's lovely. I never saw one of them like that.
The skillet pot was used for baking cabbage and potatoes, bacon and cabbage and rice. And what else would you put into it?
Boiled rice, well.
Boiled rice.
Porridge for the morning.
Porridge as well, that would
The
you?
small ones, yeah.
The small ones, You get a 20-gallon one, a very, very large one, a huge one indeed, to take too many little left. What did you put into that?
That was for the day of the threshing. And the day of the washing, Mondays, yeah. No, boil the water.
Boil the water.
With no hot water and it kept it boiled like that.
Put it on.
So we'll now pass you on to a young lady who should be at home in bed. Deirdre Scanlon of Monaghan, and she will sing The Old Skillet Pot, followed by a hill near Monaghan. You're standing? No. You're singing, but sitting down. There's music.
Well, did you ever make Callan Main with lovely pickled cream? And the cream and scallions mingle like a picture in your dream. Did you ever make a hole on top to hold the melted flake of the creamy flavoured soft and melted sweet potato cake? Oh, you did, so did he, and so did I. And the more I think about it, sure the nearer I'm to cry. Oh, weren't them the happy days when troubles we knew not, and our mothers made Calcannon in that little skillet pot? Well, did you ever make potato cake and boxed it to the school, tucked underneath your rockster with your book, your slate and rule? And while teacher wasn't looking, what a great big bite you take of the creamy flavoured soft and melted sweet potato cake. Oh, you did, so did he, and so did I. And the more I think about it, sure the nearer I'm to cry. Oh, weren't them the happy days when troubles we knew not, and our mothers made Calcannon in that little skillet pot? Well, did you ever go a-courting bites when the evening sun went down, and the moon began a-peeping from behind the hill or down? And you'd wander down the boreen where chloricons were seen, and you'd whisper love embraces to your own dear sweet Colleen. Oh, you did, so did he, and so did I. And the more I think about it, sure the nearer I'm to cry. Oh, weren't them the happy days when troubles we knew not, and our mothers made Calcannon in that little skillet pot? I'm sending you this letter with the shamrock's brick inside. It's the last one I will ever send far across the ocean wide. A tiny bit of shamrock with its weeded roots and clay, from a spot in dear old Ireland in a hill near Monaghan. They tell me that you are married now 3,000 miles from home. I don't believe it quite, for Eileen, you are my own. We pledged our thoughts before our God that morn you went away, as you sat beside that shamrock rock in that hill near Monaghan. Each day and night I hope and pray that you will return home, home to your loving sweetheart who waits for you alone. But if you come home of morning, let it be on Patrick's Day, and I'll meet you by that shamrock rock in that hill near Monaghan. But if you come home and I'm not there upon that sunny hill, beneath God's holy cross I'll be waiting for you still, and the sod of grass will be just as green upon my coffin's breast. That quiet little corner where you lay me down to rest.
Good. Thanks. We're almost there. Jack Kelly, Henry Green used to play a concertina, they used to tell me.
That's right, Pat. That's right, a concertina.
Who else used to play here with her? Any other musicians?
No, not that I remember now, but she used to play the concertina.
Not too many people played the concertina in West Limerick, I believe, did they?
I'd say very few.
Thanks, Jack, and I thank you all for coming. And as I said, hopefully, who knows, maybe Christmas time or sometime again in the future we might have another session. They were quite familiar to many of the older people. We said this type of thing in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. Television and all that type of stuff has it long wiped away, and the memory is also gone. They usually concluded with the rosary or else to commence with it. So we have a few holy ladies in the house. I should look left and right indeed. So we will pass the microphone to the volunteer and we'll have a decade of the rosary. We will conclude, and thank you very much.
Just a name the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, His only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Ghost, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead, and was buried. He descended into hell. Third day He rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven, sits at the right hand of God, the Father Almighty, from thence is come to judge the living and the dead. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, lead all souls to heaven, those most in need of thy mercy. The first glorious mystery is the resurrection. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Glory be to the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, lead all souls to heaven, especially those in need of your mercy. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, hail our life, our sweetness, and our hope. We cry, poor banished children of Eve, to reason up our sighs, mourning and weeping, valley of tears. Turn them, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile shown to us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement of loving, O sweet Virgin Mary, pray for us, Holy Mother of God. Let us pray, pour forth, we beseech thee, O Lord, that by grace thou art, to whom the incarnation of Christ thy Son was made known by the message of the angel. May by his passion cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection, Saint Christ our Lord. Amen. May the divine assistance remain always with us, and may the souls of the faithful departed, save God, rest in peace. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
That about concludes the way to hope Henry Brown is well recovered. She has the flu, so she couldn't be with us. Again, I would like to thank his grand Paddy Brown, who put in an enormous amount of work in the past couple of days to get the place into shape, and the catering. Thank the young ladies and gentlemen and those people who were involved in providing tea there during the course of the night. Our next big event, as many of you might know and might not know, Peter Crimmel, of course, I mustn't forget him either. He was with us today with the stools. We should thank Mrs. Higgins and Ballingarry, who provided the stools for us. We would have difficulty trying to have you seated without those. And the 4th of August is the next big event. We're not sure about the Mass all the time. It is still under question mark. We haven't any clarification on that yet. But what we do know is taking place so far is there will be a large vintage machinery display, quite a large vintage motor car display, a puck fodder, be a long puck across competition across the hill, and Brown Down and Madigan, who spoke last year, professor in Galway, very involved in folklore and history of this locality for many years. And our main guest speaker then, of course, is Kieran McMahona of RT fame. He is also joining us. That is it at the moment anyhow, so we might add something else onto that in the meantime, but that's generally the gist of it. So again, our sincere thanks to you. It was wonderful having you, and I'm sure Henny Green would have enjoyed being with us here on what started on the 13th of March. The 13th, I suppose, was appropriately enough. It has now moved on to the 14th of March, 91, and as we said at the beginning, this video commenced on the 8th of December on an extremely cold day, and I can vouch for the fire. It's extremely hot behind my back. So, thanks and good night. God bless. People are gone now except the two wise men from Grana, the two O'Riordans, and Deirdre Scanlon, the girl with the sweet voice from Monaghan, and my own young lady, Claire from Cashlan, Nua. And the man that was often out late before is still with us here, Jack Kelly.
Oh, I wouldn't mind.
We were talking there about Henny Green. As I said, there's a lot of stories told about her. She seems to be an unusual type of woman, one that they talked about. Was she a big woman or a small woman?
She was a woman about 5'3" or 4". She wasn't a big woman, thought she was stout, low-sized.
And how was she dressed?
She used to dress with the shawl.
Up to the time she died, was it?
Up to the time. It was myself and Danny Grady, the Artemis, him took her out from here. The passage was bad, him things. Danny Grady did know the Artemis.
How'd you take her out?
I tell you how we took her out. We took her out in a donkey's car, and a sheet of gambalise over it, and the coffin on top.
Yeah. And she was last one of that type in around, obviously.
She was the last, as long as I remember, anyway. There was Jim Sullivan and Johnny Dinian before her.
Lovely, Jack. That concludes the night. We have one presentation to make before we go. If you come over here with me now. Did Did you have pigs up here long ago?
Pigs?
Yeah.
No, not here, no.
Not a pig?
No, not a pig.
You can take that pig home with you and I'll call in for a piece of his. So here you go. One for the road, Jack. You can wrap him up there in the nose.
I'll wrap him up. Oh, I'll take him. Thanks, Bart.
No, wrap away in the nose, you can wash him again.